Hi Barbara, thank you for being here, sweetheart, and thank you for letting me know. Hello, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter. I welcome you to my channel, and today I'm just going to be crafting using items from the Timeless Tidings collection from Tonic Studios. So I was just doing a little bit of housekeeping here, and hopefully you're able to hear me now and all that good stuff. So bear with me, I'm just going to grab some links, because as I say in my live videos, if you want to support this channel, then this is a really easy way to do so. If you're going to shop, then those are going to be some of the links that you may want to take a peek at if you like any of the items that I'll be sharing with you today. So among them are going to be these, which I haven't yet cut out, but I'm going to grab my machine really quickly here and start cutting out some of these little, I was thinking of the pine cones, and maybe I'll cut some more of the items here, but as I wait for people to join in, if anyone else joins us, Barbara, I'm going to start cutting these because I think they're so pretty. And what I've been doing is I have a stack here of items on my table. In fact, I should probably zoom out a tiny bit. Let me here. I always have a lag on my videos, so just want to make sure that you can see me okay. Hello Don, and welcome back. Hope you're having a great day so far. Feel free to share the video if you would like to. You can go ahead and share it on social media, and anyone who does so, of course, will be automatically entered into the giveaway that I'll be having as soon as this channel reaches 5,000 subscribers, because anyone who helps me is someone that I very, very much appreciate. Of course, I appreciate everyone, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just a nice thing to do, right? So what I'll do is that I'm going to start cutting. I have some linen weave paper here, and I wanted to mention the papers that I'll be using for the most part is going to be the Timeless Tidings collection, so I'll be sharing that with you guys in a moment. However, this brown paper is not. I happen to find this in my stash, and I thought it was such a gorgeous paper, and in fact, I would love to find more of it. I just don't, I think maybe American Crafts has something similar to this. But it's 80-pound card that is with this gorgeous linen weave. And I thought it would be wonderful for these little pine cones that you can cut out using this die set here. So these are all the pieces. Yes, these are all the pieces. And it's Timeless Tidings. And the reason why I want to cut out some of these pine cones is because I want to use them in this little folio that I'm hopefully going to be making today. I'm just going to be crafting. This isn't anything that is meant to be stressful, of course, in any way, or but however, I wanted to mention before I forget that if you have any questions about this particular folio that I'm going to be making, then I'll be happy to share every single thing, every little detail, okay? In case you want to recreate it or make something similar, then if you happen to have these items, you should be able to do so, with of course the difference being that maybe your papers might be a little bit different because of the fact that I don't have a link to this particular brown, for instance. However, Tonic Studios has gorgeous brown paper. As I said, I just happened to find this one in my stash, and I thought I cannot pass this up because it's going to match this collection really nicely, and the texture is just perfect for little embellishments. And as you see here, there are layers to this. So let me do one more, because I always like to work in groups of 3 whenever possible. And you can tell that these cut out really nicely. And by the way, I was going to, oh gosh, time got away from me this morning. I was going to have more of this done before I went live, and then I saw the time. I thought, oh my goodness, it's already 2 p.m. Now, I normally don't do a live video on this day of the week, but because of last week not having made any videos at all, I thought, okay, I really don't want to go more than a week without any videos to share with you guys, because I've got the products and I love using them. I just have had some updates that I was trying to do, so that's why I came along yesterday and shared a live video as well. And that was because I had some updates for this channel, one of them being that there were some videos I had announced last month, and I had said, okay, I'm really excited for September because there are going to be some videos that I'm going to put out, and then some changes happen, and those particular videos I'm not going to be able to share with you guys until November or October and November, sorry. Getting my days mixed up. So hopefully you guys can still hear me okay and nothing has changed. I'm going to zoom in now a little bit just because I don't want you guys to pick up on that glare. Hello Tanya, and welcome back, sweetheart. Hopefully you guys can see me. I'm going to check, oopsie. I'm gonna check here, make sure this is, there we go. Okay. I wanted to make sure you guys are not seeing too much of this glare. So let me see if I can put this way maybe. A little bit difficult because of how I have my lights here, and I think that might be a little bit better. So I'm sorry if I've made anyone dizzy. So I have a little stack here that you may be looking at, and these are going to be the papers that I'll be using. And then just before I even start that, I do want to put this together. So if you're not familiar with this die set, along with all of the other gorgeous features that it has this little guy here. And that's the little pine cone, which I think is so adorable. And one of the reasons is because you can make it dimensional. And so as you see here, there are all these little layers. So let me move this up so you guys can see how you can start stacking this together to create a really cute dimensional embellishment. And okay, so those are the pieces. And what you can do is, if you like, I'm going to grab some, I think it's, let's see here, espresso. I'm trying to grab the cube of ink. I think it's in here, wedged in here. Here it is. I like this particular distress ink. It's called espresso, ground espresso, that's what it's called. And my little brushes here can help me out because you don't need a whole lot of this ink, but it does help bring out some of the little features of the die, a little bit of depth there, even though it's brown on brown, just to have that tiny bit of shadow. And I've used this die already on a different project, and I only wish I could share it with you, but that would be giving y'all a sneaky peeky, and I'm not allowed to do that. But it's so cute. I really, really like the dimension of it. So I was smitten with this. It's kind of interesting how if you're crafting, for instance, for Christmas time or winter time, there are certain items that are just kind of, how would you say that? Just features that stand out to you in your mind when you think of those seasons, right? And for me, one of them is this particular little seed, I guess is what you would call it, because the seeds do fall out of this cone. So just to share with you a little bit of my personal life, my mother-in-law has beautiful, beautiful trees in her yard. And let me show you really quickly. Where are they? Oh, there they are. So for instance, she has some evergreens that are native, and I live in upstate New York. And I was able to gather some of these from her yard. They're a particular type of tree, and it's a coniferous tree, but it's not called a pine tree per se. But they're so absolutely gorgeous. And so this is what I mean when I think of, for instance, this area and just the nature that's around, which is one of the things that, of course, for me inspires creativity. And hello, Kathy! Thank you so much for being here. So I thought I would share that with you guys because I thought that it was so cute. They're so darling. And the size. And for me, I like to just decorate just like that. Just keep them in a little bowl for decoration. And of course, they serve another purpose in my case, which is to also add them to backgrounds for photography and that sort of thing. I think it's kind of fun. So what I'm going to do here is I have some dimensional foam adhesive, and they're just these little squares, easy enough. And I'm going to just start layering these on top, or I should say behind, the pieces. Now you add as much or as little dimension to this as you like, but all you have to do now is just place one right on top of the other. And I'm going to proceed with another one. I'm only going to add one in the center of that one because I don't need too much. And the good thing is that because this matches up perfectly, then it's super easy to get that dimensional look. And then for the very last one, if you haven't noticed, these do pop up, the little details there. So you can curl them up if you'd like to. And hopefully you guys can see that. But then if you'd like, you only have to add a tiny little drop of adhesive to that, and your little pine cone is good to go. And of course, you can alter these any other way that you prefer to. I'm going to clean off this ink and then keep layering all of these. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I've been cutting paper. cutting paper. So I do have it all just about ready to go. But I did want to share those little pine cones. And of course, there is tons of gorgeous greenery and all that good stuff also available with that set. But I like to do these almost in a assembly line style whenever I can. So typically I wouldn't wait for live to do this. However, today, as I said, I looked at the time and I realized it was getting away from me, and it was either going to be now or never to come online. So now I'm just going to repeat the same thing, and this will be much easier to do. And as you can tell, I'm not being too terribly careful as to the placement of the little foam squares because it's just meant to emulate nature, right? And if they're a little bit one differs from the other in terms of the height and all that, it won't really matter. But I'm curious to know if any of you who are here have these dies or even the papers, which I'm going to mention momentarily. As soon as these are all put together, I'll go ahead and share that with you in case you haven't seen it, although I think everyone here has. But just in case someone wants to watch the replay, they can see it as well. And I like to, by the way, double up the adhesive whenever possible. I know that I forgot to do so with that first little cone, but these come together quite easily. And I like to, you know, use my fingernails, but if you have short nails, you can always use your pokey tool or anything like that. Or you can leave it flat but I'm wondering if anyone else is working on any Christmas projects. Do you get started early on those? Is it something that you have time to do? Because some people just don't have the time at all. All right, my little pine cones are good to go there. And you see how easily those came together? Now those are ready to go. I'm gonna just push them aside for a moment. And I'm going to share with you what I've cut out. Now this beautiful little image here is from the paper collection that I just mentioned. And it's this one here, Timeless Tidings. And I wanted to come along and use it today. So of course there's all of the different papers, and I love the size 8x8, but there is a total of 36. They're 200 GSM, and you get 3 each of 9 double-sided designs. And the first page here, as you just saw, is the only one that's foiled in this particular collection. But there's the die set that also coordinates with those tags, and I thought I had it in hand. Okay, I know that I have it. I wanted to show it to you guys. Well, in the meantime, you're gonna hear things moving. In the meantime, there's also the embossing folders that you could get with that collection, in case you haven't seen those. So there's 3 of them total. That first one also matches the pine cones, and that's called Pine Cone Parade. There's Mistletoe Shower, which is this one. And then the last one that I'll show you here is the Season's Greetings. Super pretty. Then there's also a set of stencils, so I'll be using that today as well. There's 4 different ones here, and we'll see them in a moment. And then there's also the 20 stamps, which are gorgeous. And the dies that I showed you a moment ago with the little pine cones also have dies that will coordinate with some of these images, including the bow. And then there's this one here for, let's see, this one goes with the actually, wait a minute, I don't know which one this matches. I'm a little bit lost with that one. Is that for, no, it's not for a pine cone. Yeah, I don't know what this is meant to match. It looks like a wreath, but I don't know. Maybe that didn't make the cut. I don't know. I have no idea. If you guys know, please feel free to let me know. And then there's this other little cone, by the way, in case you don't like the style that I shared with you. There is that one. And then there are the berries, the holly, and then this gorgeous poinsettia aside from the others. So let me set that aside so I don't lose it. And I have a set of tags here, but they're not the ones that I intended to share with you guys. However, I did want to share with you this is the TCK82 or Tonic Craft Kit Elegant Envelope Gift Card. And what I'm going to share with you is how I will make these into the actual pages, and that's what you see stacked over here. Now this did come with some rectangle dies. Particularly the larger one is a wonderful little size for matting, because this measures just under, it's 3 7/8 by 5 1/16, I would say. So just a little over 5 inches. So it's wonderful, for instance, if you like to take like 4x6 photos and then crop them down. And of course, these days you can order photos in any size practically that you like, or you can print them at home. And then there's this other little frame that's actually scalloped. So if you wanted to cut into a picture and add it to a little folio, then you could easily do that. Or you can also use this smallest die here, which creates little pockets. And if you want to create a folio like this one, and then just add gift cards to every other page and present that as a Christmas gift, I think that would be a phenomenal idea. So thank you, Barbara. Yes. Oh, Kathy, that's wonderful. Isn't it such a gorgeous set? I'm so happy that I got it. Because I think it's going to be, you know, there are particular sets that are just timeless, you know? Now, because you just mentioned the foil, the die for the foil, let me get this out of the way. Because there are those foiled sheets. And these right here. And, okay. And then there's these that just come already printed with the foil on them. But here's the foil fusion sheets. So, oh, okay, that's where the poinsettia is. I see it now. All right, so these are the ones that have, there it is. So that little die that I couldn't make out goes with that. And then there's the rest of that. Okay, so cute little borders, so very pretty. All right, so I'm gonna set that aside as well. And I'm quickly going to grab the other die that I was mentioning because it does coincide with the design of that paper. So I have it right here, and it's this one called Tag and Stamps, and so it's this grouping down here. It does not include those because those are from the other collection that Tonic released not too long ago. That's also the candy cane one, so that's another grouping. And I do have some card samples for that, by the way, so if you haven't seen that video, I invite you to watch it. And what I did was that I used the little gingerbread men, and I did the boy and the girl. I just switched it up a little bit, and then I think I used every single one of the trees, if I'm not mistaken, along with the candy cane and the little presents. So that was a lot of fun. So here again are the little tags that I'll be using today. And okay, let's get started with this portion of it. As you can see, I've cut out some of the papers, and what I did was that I created a cover, front and back, for my little folio. Okay, and I'm using the ivory card from Tonic Studios that is the 300 GSM. I just thought that that would be the perfect weight for this type of project, and also the color goes well with the neutrals. So this happens to measure 4 and 3. Let's see here. I forget the bear width. I want to give you guys precise measurements again in case anyone wants to follow this. And I read backwards, guys, so don't mind me. I actually have to do it like this. Let's see here. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. Okay. 4 and 5/8 by 5 and 3/4, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/8. 5 and 6/8. And I will forget that measurement in 2 seconds. So pause the video and write it down. All right, but I have some matting layers here. In fact, I think I might cut this down a tiny bit more. And then the cover will showcase this gorgeous little robin. I thought that would be so pretty. And of course, then I can decorate it with more of the little die cuts and little ribbons or whatever else I decide to put on there. Or that little bow and the poinsettia. We'll get to that. But that's the front and back cover. I have the matting layers for that. The spine, I'm probably going to decorate using this piece here. And that one I haven't cut out yet because I wanted to show you the pages. So each page is going to be exactly the same. And that's what makes this project so easy, is that if you're going to cut the pages using that die from the envelope set, now you have a little portion here that you can either cut or you can just score and fold, and then you have your interactive page with a little tuck-in spot, and I think that's a lot of fun. So I've gone ahead and, as you can see here, cut out layering pieces also that are easy enough because the die does that for you. And then there's the little matting layer. Now what I did for these is I didn't cut them all with the same die that came with that envelope. What I did is that I grabbed these other dies that are also Christmas card dies from Tonic Studios, and these might be familiar to you. They have the little phrases, let it snow, have a merry little Christmas, and then there's matching little tags. There's one more. Let's see here. Okay, maybe I'm imagining it, but I could have sworn there's 3 of these. And I'm pretty sure there are. In any case, one of them has the stitching frame. This one is stippled, and I'm pretty sure there's one more. I'm just not seeing it at the moment, so I apologize for that, but there's just so much going on this table. All right. In any case, I digress. It's just a little rectangle, and of course, if you like texture, then it's a lot of fun to switch those up. And the whole point is to share with you that you have options so long as you have a rectangle. So what I can do now is that I have a total of, let's see here, 6 little pages, and they all have different papers that I had cut out. As you can see there, different combinations. So there's, for instance, this gorgeous paper here, and then this one with the little Christmas ornaments. So what I'll do is first assemble this, and then decide page by page, you know, how I want this to go, basically. So for that, we need a spine. And I'm going to be brave enough to take a piece of brown paper, just like the one I have there. This is 80-pound paper, and I thought it would be pretty to make the spine in this color as well, seeing as I'm going to use it for the back and front cover. So I'm going to cut this down to match the height of the covers that I just shared with you, minus 1/8 of an inch, I think. I like to cut it a little bit shorter, so let me do that. And I hope this isn't too crazy for anyone, but of course, if you have any questions, sorry, then I'm happy to answer. Just gonna move some things out of the way. I just think these papers are so pretty. So again, what I'm going to do is measure the size of this cover here. The height, sorry, which is, yeah, 5 3/4 inches tall. So I am purposely using the 12-inch wide paper because I'm going to need to score this multiple times. Now you can also use the spine die from Tonic Studios if you prefer to do that. I'm just going to go the easy route and do it this way. So 5 3/4 would be the height. So then what I'm going to do is make the height of this 5 1/2. Okay, and this is just the easy way for me to go about doing this. Now this does have a scoring blade. I don't trust it too much, but I'm gonna give it a try. All right. Now, because this is going to go inside of my little book, I'm going to first score this at 1/4 inch, because this is just going to be part of the spine. And try as I might, I always feel like this doesn't score deeply enough. So I might just use my stylus. I think I'm gonna just go with what I like, or score tool here. I'm just gonna do 1/4 inch there, and I'm being careful not to crack the paper, of course. Now the distance between the pages is very much dependent on what you're comfortable with. I like to do, let's see here, 1/4 inch in between each page. But the first page, of course, is going to be a mountain fold, and then that can be, let's see here, that can be 1/2 inch tall, just to make it easier. I think I'm gonna have enough here, or maybe, no, I'm sorry, I'm second guessing myself, but I think I'll make it 3/8 of an inch. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. And again, I measure and write and see everything backwards. I hope I'm not confusing anyone, but it's just to give yourself enough height in order to adhere the pages, and once I fold this, it'll all make sense. Okay, so that's gonna be my first hinge, and then I'm gonna move this out. Now mind you, I'm using the measurements on this side of the cutter in case anyone's confused by that. So I'm gonna make the second space between the pages another 1/4 inch, and then everything else is gonna be the same thing repeated over and over again. So that part, just a matter of rinse and repeat. Just move your paper out as you see fit. And of course you can use a scoreboard. It doesn't really matter. So again, here is going to be 1/4 of an inch because that's the distance between my pages. Now if you want to make super chunky pages, then of course you can make the space in between your pages 3/8 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not intending on adding anything super bulky to this because I think most of the images that I'm going to add are going to be stamped. But it's personal preference, of course. For my shabby albums, I tend to do wider pages. So here I have so far 1, 2, I have my third hinge. So again, 1/4 of an inch distance between my pages. And then a little bit taller for the actual base. And another 1/4 inch. And if one of my little fold lines, let's see here, so long as they're consistent, doesn't matter how tall they are, really. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3. Let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have one more page to go, and then I'll be done with this. Okay, and then this is my last 1/4 inch. And truthfully, I can just cut it there. Let me get my blade back. Oh, hi! Hello, Jackie and... Jackie, thank you for correcting me. Oh. I've been looking at so many things. Thank you, Jackie. I'll open it again so we can look at it in a minute. Because clearly I made a mistake on the papers. Alright, so Melissa, to answer your question, this is the spine that I'm making for a little folio with the Timeless Tidings collection, okay? And I realize that this is a little bit askew. There we go. Alright, so now it's a matter of accordion folding. I like to fold first the... Get that sticker out of there because I don't need it. The hinges of the actual spine. It just makes things a little bit easier. Okay, so there's hinge 1. Okay. Now after you make a few memory books, this comes a little more easily. It's a little more, you know, second nature to you. And start gauging what is your preference as to the size of the books that you make and all that good stuff. I feel like I haven't made a memory book in a minute, so it's been a while. At least that's how it feels. So, okay, so those are all my mountain folds because those are going to be my places where I'm going to be adhering my pages. The rest here are going to be the very first little valley fold. And now this paper is a little bit substantial, and As I've mentioned 1,000,001 times, my hands are not the strongest, so I apologize if this is difficult to watch. But I just start folding this back and forth because the score lines are there. Okay. And I just pinch that paper, move it back and forth. And what I like to do is just start getting this ready for the movement of the page, because this is going to be the part of the book that moves the most, and I want that paper to start almost breaking down the fibers a little bit so that it doesn't crack. Okay? And that's as easy as that. And of course you can go back with your tools, make sure those fold lines are nice and crisp. So in that case, it's just a matter of folding every single one of them, and then that way your paper is not going to start buckling or anything like that. Now, I do not ever recommend that you do this with the 300 GSM card. In case you're new to this type of craft, you want to make sure you have paper that's substantial, like an 80-pound weight, so that way it doesn't rip right out of your book. Because yes, that can happen. And then if you're more advanced, you can add Tyvek to the back of this if you'd like to. This is not going to be that type of video though. Alright, so now I can start adhering these, and that way these hinges will be ready to go. It all makes sense once it's inside of this little book. But I'm just going to pinch those mountain folds together. And it might not be 100% perfect, guys, so you know. But neither am I, so practice grace with myself as much as possible. Just going to fold that one back on itself. Now normally I have to confess that I would give this 24 hours to dry before I would ever put a page on it. But for today's video, we're just going to plug along, and I'm going to trust the process and trust the adhesive. Okay. And I know it might look a little bit crazy as to how I'm applying this adhesive. But since I'm immediately folding that paper back also, that I'm not too worried. But you just want to make sure you have enough pressure there. And I'm going to have to slow down just 1 minute here. Let me take a look at that. Okay, so everyone's still being nice and patient with me. So this is going to be, you know, you may want to grab a coffee or a tea or lunch, depending on the time of day that it is for you. Because I don't often do this type of video live, but today I wanted to take some crafty time, come along and share a project, because this paper collection was such a gorgeous release, and I really wanted to share a cute project with you guys that would be easy to make with the dies that you may already have on hand. Alright, I might have to switch over to some dry adhesive because my paper is not wanting to stick. And it could be just the type of paper that it is. And if that's the case, no problem. It's a learning opportunity, and you get to see live how this sometimes plays out. And normally, I'm looking for my roll of tape here, so here it is, it's right in front of me. Normally the liquid adhesive is sufficient, but if you run into something like this, it's easy enough to just switch it over, and then at least that way you get the high tech immediately, and then supplement it with the wet adhesive so that way it'll dry in its own time, you know what I mean? because I think there might be a little bit of a coating on this paper, which makes it really fabulous to look at, but it's not wanting to stick immediately. But if you see how there's no panic, it's because it's not the first time. Not my first rodeo with paper saying, no, I don't feel like sticking right now. Ooh, just make sure the at least the dry adhesive sticks with it. But if you see there, it kind of dried rather quickly and it didn't commit. The paper has commitment issues. All right. What I am doing very much on purpose though is applying a good amount of pressure onto these folds, okay? That part, if you have strong hands, you know, consider it a blessing because it does come in handy. Come on, baby. And in the past, just so you know, I've done tutorials sharing how to create spines for books. I don't always create them the same exact way. This is just one of the many options that you have, of course. But for this particular little book, I decided to just go with tradition. And that's that. Okay, so now I have all of my little hinges, okay? And then I have room for this to adhere to the spine of the book. Speaking of which, I can make the spine of the book using that 300 GSM card. And then in this case, I do want it to be the same height. You know what? That's a good question, Melissa. I think I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I'm not 100% sure if this is the Tonic Studios tape, and I don't want to lie to you, so I'm gonna have to look and see if it is or not, because I took some of my adhesive out and put it in those beautiful little pouches, but then it didn't dawn on me that I would forget which brand it was. That's how it goes sometimes. Okay, so here's my front cover. And I know that for my hinge, I'm going to want to place my little spine. And I also want to have 1/4 inch on each side to adhere to my cover. So the first thing that I want to do is cut it to the same height. And this time around, I'm going to use my guillotine because I love using it. And even though I was just using that other paper cutter, I'm gonna be perfectly honest and say it's not my favorite and I don't recommend it. And I'm very, very sorry for anyone who might be offended by that. I've always said on this channel, I'm not here to lie to you. I have it, I use it, I don't love it. So this is just under, actually it's just a hair under 5 3/4. I didn't realize that. But let's go with that measurement. And I don't know why it was a tiny bit under, but that's okay. And then I need enough room for my little spine piece, so I'm going to measure that. And then this is 2 inches wide, okay? So then this only needs to be 2.5 inches. All right, and now I'm going to score this. Now, if you want this to be a little bit wider, that's okay also. But I'm going to score this at 1/4 inch on each side. And I'm going to fold that. It looks like a tornado has hit my table because I keep dropping things. There's a crocodile over there that's a bit menacing. I'm sorry if I was out of frame, guys. I apologize for that, but I'm going to continue on with... Come on, baby. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to apply some of that adhesive to the little 1/4 inch edges there. And you can be more meticulous than this, of course. Gonna cut away the excess there. Inevitably, there's always that. I'm gonna grab my cover. Doesn't matter if it's the front or the back. I'm gonna make sure that I fold that really nicely. And then apply that adhesive. I'm going to try to line this up as best as I can. I like to apply the adhesive to the actual edge of that paper. And I cannot stress how much easier it is to craft now that I have that gun. I'm telling you guys, it's gold. Okay, so I need to go this way, and I keep, so I have a new setup, I have to tell you guys, in case you didn't see my live from yesterday. I have a screen right in front of me now that allows me to see what you guys are seeing. The problem is that it's upside down. It's causing some visual problems for me here, but that's how it's gonna stay. All right, so I'm gonna just burnish that. Make sure it sticks really nicely. So now we have the spine to our little folio or book. We're going to repeat that with the other piece. That's going to be the front cover or back. Doesn't really matter at this point. Do the same thing here. Apply that adhesive. And at the end, depending on how this all ends up looking, I might touch it all up with that espresso ink just to make it a little more vintagey looking. Okay, but I work from left to right because I am left-handed, so we're just going to repeat the same step. Overlap, and come on, stick it down. I just want to make sure it's nice and straight, and this adhesive takes no prisoners, so I'm going to do it actually this way. And come on, baby. There we go. I'm gonna try to get it right. Burnish that. Okay. It's as good as it's gonna get right now. All right, there we go. Okay, so we have our little cover, and now I'm going to adhere this right to that spine, and if you can tell, it doesn't reach the top or the bottom entirely, and that's quite on purpose because I want to make sure that there's room there without that spine overlapping or, you know, butting out of the top or bottom of my book. So I'm now going to take this, and I'm just going to cut away a tiny little portion at like a 45-degree angle, ensuring not to cut into that spine. And it's only on those hinges, of course. And now if this bothers you, do it in ivory. You don't have to do it in brown. I just don't take these things far too seriously because I want to just craft and have fun. And a little contrast here and there doesn't bother me. It really depends on what I'm making, to be honest. If I'm making more of a formal mini album, I might make it more monochromatic. So here I'm going to apply that adhesive again, just to make it easier. So there's quite a bit of adhesive involved in this. That should be, you know, standard, I guess. But there's really, I don't think there's a better way to go about it. Just be generous always with your tape and your adhesive. And then that way you know that your items are nicely secured. And if you prefer the liquid adhesive, by all means, you can just do that. I just don't have, you know, if you saw how it went with the hinges, then of course you know I'm not gonna do that and make you guys wait. So, I'm going to remove this. Oh, Melissa, if you're still with me here, I'm thinking that this adhesive here may possibly be from scrapbook.com. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. So I'd have to, of course, look back at my order history and see if that's where I got it from. There's a high probability of that. All right, so I'm only going to remove half of this right now. I'm going to line this up. I want this to be really nice and straight. And so I'm gauging it with the fold line there. I don't want that to overlap, but I want it to be as close to that as possible. I'm going to use my tool here to really press down on that. Make sure it's really nice and adhered as I go. Okay, and then once I've reached that half, let me grab my little things that everything keeps sticking to my fingers. Okay, now I've got all those the little bits that I cut away from the hinges were sticking to me. Okay, I was trying to get those off with my hands. All right, so I've got the rest of this. Now you can, if you'd like to, apply liquid adhesive there. That's typically what I would do. I'm just going to proceed, however, and I'm going to make sure that I'm using this tool to my advantage to really press on those 1/4 inch portions there so that I get a good stick. Trying to not pierce that paper, of course, so if you can, use the blunt edge of the tool. Okay. But now I've got my spine fully adhered, and I'm making sure that it's going to fold in both directions. You give it a little bit of a workout. Fold it again. Opposite. And the last time, I promise. Voila. Okay, so that's good to go. And we're now going to be able to add our little pages. Now you can decide whether you want these to all face forward with that little fold tab facing this way. It's up to you. And in fact, I could have made this even a little bit shorter now that I look at it. I should have measured these pages instead. So guess what's going to happen here? I'm probably going to cover it up with a second piece of paper that's a little bit taller. So that's okay. I'm just gonna, I'll share that once I have it done because I don't have them cut right now. So case in point here, let me share with you that that should have been less than 5 3/8 inches tall. So I could have made it just 5 1/4 inches tall instead, and it would have been the perfect size for this because right now there's a tiny bit of it showing, but I'm going to just be gracious with myself here because then you can apply your little pieces to, of course, decorate those papers. And as I said before, depending on how you want to make this, I think I said that, you may want to add 2 of these, one in front of the other, like that, depending on the type of book that you're making, or you may want to just add 1 page and just have this be a singular, you know, folding page in your book. I don't know how else to say that. Oh, so you got it from, yeah. I don't think, I definitely don't buy adhesive on Amazon just because I don't think, if it doesn't come from a reputable source, then, you know, just have learned my lesson not to do that. But I think scrapbook.com is the only other place where I get adhesive other than, yeah, it must have been. Because I'm just looking at, you know, I've shared these before on this channel. I love getting their 1/8" foam adhesive, and I'm almost positive that they sent this to me. So check them out, because the good thing about scrapbook.com is that if you don't like the product, they're really, you know, it's a wonderful company to deal with. So you're not going to get stuck with something you don't like. So what I'm thinking of doing here is that I want to definitely use all 6 of these, because I did cut out 6, but let me see if I have any more of that. I'm gonna see if I have, because I have this brown paper, I can also use this and just make it look like it was completely intentional. How about we just do that? Let's go for it. And yes, score tape is wonderful. I absolutely have score tape. This is actually a tiny bit stronger than score tape, if you can believe that. So I'm going to improvise, adapt, and overcome as I always do. So bear with me here. I'm just gonna make sure that I measure this one more time. Let's measure 3 million times and cut once, right? So this actually ended up being, it was meant to be 5 1/4, but I accidentally cut it to the height of 5 1 2 3. Every measure, you know what I'm noticing is that every ruler is different. You guys ever notice that? Every ruler is different. Ay, 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 mamma mia. Let me cut this and we'll continue. Okay. I'm gonna try this, and yeah, I need to cut it down a tiny bit more. Okay, 5 1/2 inches tall was the measure, the height that I got there. So we're gonna start off with this one, so that way it's not so horrible looking. Okay, yep, 5 1/2 inches tall. And what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna make those the width of these pages, which is 4 1/8. So let's do that. I will solve my little problem there. 4 1/8. So I'm gonna do 1. Okay, I'm here. 4 1/8. Make this work. Woohoo! Maybe not. Let's see. There we go. 4 1/8. 4 1/8. Okay, and if I don't have enough, that's okay. We'll just work with what we've got. Get back to this. And here, I'm going to use this again and apply these pages first so that it's easier to assemble the whole thing. Go from here, place it on the base. It might be a little bit askew when you look at the spine. So what I'm going to do is gauge it by the actual page, because it doesn't matter if it's a little bit farther away from the spine. I allowed myself the height that I did, because there's going to be another page right on top of that anyway. So you do what you're comfortable with, of course. But I do want it to be nice and straight inside of the book, and that's where you have a little bit of wiggle room there, is that you don't have to adhere it as close to that fold line. You definitely have the room there. Okay, so now what I do is I place my first page, and now I'm going to match all of the other ones to that first page. So I just start sliding it a little bit toward that spine or the hinge, and then fold my paper over onto that. I'm going to try to hold on to this, of course, so that I don't have it move on me. Here we go. And I'm going to repeat that a few more times here. And the other thing you can do with these, of course, is that if you happen to have a really pretty rectangle die that happens to be the size of this page, then by all means, you can just do that and cut it accordingly. I'm just, as you know, as usual, just improvising here because I measured this a little tiny bit taller than I should have. Okay, so again, I'm measuring it out to this way. So this, the height of that previous page, and then folding this over onto the adhesive, just like that. And I've got 3 more. But the other thing is that there's, I was going to mention, red line adhesive will stick really quickly also, but I wouldn't recommend it for this type of thing, because as much as it's fun to use for a quick, you know, grab, if the item's going to get a lot of movement or handling, then I don't recommend it because it will fall apart. Okay, so there's that. And that's just been my experience. Maybe other people would disagree. It depends, I think, on the climate in which you live also. But where I live, the climate does fluctuate greatly. And that's just, you know, what I can speak of. So these 2 pages can now go on, and then I can start adding those pretty ones that, by the way, you don't have to leave as is. You can not just do the matting, but you can do stamping and all the rest of it. And I think that could be a lot of fun. Okay. Now if there's any, you know, leftover peeking out adhesive there, you can wait until you're done and use a rubber eraser. That generally works out really well. Okay, but I think, considering that you start out with just a plain piece of paper, that this isn't a bad way to go when it comes to making a little folio or a book. I think they can be quite fun. And let's see here, I'm gonna try to remove that really quickly. I want it to be the same as the other ones. So I might have to pull this one out a tiny bit. Okay. There we go. All right. So I've got these in. And now I can do the other pages that I had spoken of. And because it's going to be layered on top of those other ones, then no harm, no foul, because I can even create little pockets now. And it looks much better, in my opinion. So that's exactly what we're going to do. A little bit of a change here, but there are different choices that you can make with each page also. It's not to mean that every page has to be the same. But I'm going to add this one first. And I also am going to eliminate this little tab for this. Where's my cutter? Now, if you're doing like a recipe book, you may want to leave that. It's really, you know, personal preference. But I'm going to be cutting that. Let's see here. And I might just add a little embellishment there. Ooh, but I'm actually noticing that this isn't exactly 100% straight. That's interesting. Or is it just my eyes? Nope. It's not my eyes. All right, I don't want to eliminate that little scallop though. Just wanted to take away that one there. And who knows, maybe it's not that big of a deal to leave them. But I'm going to add the first page here, and then add that matting layer. Oh, I see, I'm so sorry. Okay, so red liner tape has more silicone. I'm just gonna add this right here than score tape does. Score tape has a carrier. So every dry adhesive has a carrier, sorry. They all have a carrier, right? And that's that very thin strip that's basically being held by this liner, because this is truly just a liner. But that carrier there, if you look at red line adhesive next to this one, this is almost like a tissue that happens to have adhesive on it, whereas red line adhesive, and I have some around I could show you. Red line adhesive is actually silicone. So to answer your question, Dawn, that's the difference. So when that silicone starts falling apart, because everything does, right? Just like us humans, everything else, we're all in a state of entropy, whether we want to be or not, including our tape. Then the adhesive falls apart with it. And that's just the nature of it. But here now we have this little page. What I can do is adhere this top and bottom and create a pocket that's top loading or side loading here, right? And then I can also create the little pocket here, as I had mentioned before. So what I want to do is adhere these layers first. And if you want to, you can add a little ribbon here and have it tie. So you have to untie the little page to open it. You can just adhere a portion of it. What I would like to do here is, let's see, I might add a magnet. I'm a little bit obsessed with magnets. And I think I have tiny ones. Let's see here. Well, I don't know where the tiny ones went, but I know that I have magnets. And I only need 12 if I use them on every page. So let's go with that. All right, so I'm going to add one magnet here. Or actually, no, on the front of the page. So let me just add the magnet right there, just to get that done and over with. Okay, I'm going to add my matting layer. And this is the back side of this paper with the stags. So of course you could cut it out whichever way you prefer. I figured this would be a really pretty landing place for embellishments. And so that's why I decided, okay, I'm just gonna fold these over. All right, so now I'm hiding the one magnet. And before I adhere my matting layer, I'm going to place the second one. But I'm first going to stick it there, add my adhesive, and then fold it over. That gives me a landing place for that. All right. I'm gonna hide it with a little sticky piece of tape there. And then I'm going to add my matting layer. And of course you could double mat this if you want to. Okay, for the first one, I'm just going to keep it simple here. Place this down, and we have almost the entire page done, but I'm going to start folding this really nicely. Get that used to folding there. All right. And on here, actually, it's a little bit crooked. Oh, it's a lot of bit crooked. Okay, moving on. I don't know why that page got so crooked. I have no idea how that happened. All right, let me see if I can take that off because I'm not going to be happy with that. Bear with me, guys. I have a solution. Thank God. I folded that over and I'm like, wait a minute. That's not going to fly. I'm going to take my metal spatula here. Okay, boom. I'm taking off that page because it's not completely dry. All right. Because I wouldn't be able to live with myself if that page was crooked like that. So I'm going to actually adhere it this way so that way I can actually see it. Now, mind you, when you're building these, you're not going to be doing a live video. So you don't have to worry about that. You'll have plenty of time to get this nice and situated. So I'm going to add adhesive to, oh wait, it was this side. I'm going to add adhesive to that and actually stick it properly so that my page is nice and straight, okay? But I'm loving the whole little envelope look of that. I think it's so cute. Now, again, did you see how easily I was able to remove that? Had I used liquid glue, I would not have had the wiggle room for that. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't. I'm just going to gauge it like that, and now I'm going to apply my pressure there. I really was not happy with that. Fold it this way, and you know what? I think it's just the whole thing. My cover, maybe. Might be my cover. Let's see here. What's going on? It doesn't look crooked from this angle. None of my pages are popping out. I don't know what happened there, but I'm gonna have to just roll with it. Okay. But it's not looking, hold on guys, got a little visitor here. It's not looking very straight here when I fold it over. Okay, so just take your time if you're gonna do this sort of thing so that you don't ruin your book. And I see here Karina. Hello, Karina from Denmark. Oh, and thank you. I'm sorry for my error. I try to make it look easy, but I make mistakes just like everybody else. I'm just gonna fold this one and continue on making more. And you can repeat them the same way, or if you'd like to, you can add them the other way and, you know, have this fold over to this side. All right, it's really up to you how you want to do this, because I don't think there's a wrong way, especially if you're going to add more pages. So for the sake of argument, let me go ahead and do that. I'm just going to create here this matting layer and then have this fold over to the other side and be a pocket on here. I don't think it looks bad. In fact, I can cut it down. So that way it's an alternate way of using the page. Okay, and then it's going to cover that hinge because I am going to adhere it to that base page on this side. And normally I would be doing it this way, just so you know. It's a bit awkward to do it from the other angle. Okay. So that gives it a tiny bit of an edge all the way around also. Just gonna try to press that down there. And then on this side, I can create my little side pocket there. Just use that as a decorative portion. Okay, so it's going to be more of a little tuck spot. And if you wanted to create the base pages larger, then by all means, this could be on the bottom or even diagonally. It all depends on the shape page that you want to go with. But what I'd like to do here is add my next little piece, just like so. And then what I will do is I'll likely supplement this off camera because it's never 100% done, I don't think, until you're happy with it. And then I'm going to add this one here, because I can add more papers other than the base ones that I'm sharing with you today. There's that one. Okay. So this is going to create a little bit of bulk here, but there's that magnet on that front page, and I don't want that to compete with anything on this page, okay? In case you're wondering why I made that decision. Because sometimes when you do that, you can have all of your pages start sticking together. So of course, if you're okay with that, then by all means you can do that, but you don't have to. So then here's another one. And I can have the pocket or the little fold mirror the first one. And this time around, it's going to be a little bit different because I switched the papers. So I can add this one here. And as I had stated before, these are just the base layers. So you don't have to commit to just this basic type of page. Hope that makes sense. Just adding adhesive right there. And then this paper I think is so gorgeous. I'm looking forward to adding all of the little elements to this. But of course, this is just going to be the base assembly. And I think I need to keep on with that dry adhesive because I think it's this paper. Just so you know, and this is not Tonic Studios paper. If you're noticing here that my paper is not adhering immediately and all that good stuff, it's not the temperature in my room. It's the actual, this brown paper. So guess what I won't be using again? And I used it because I like the color and I love the weave, but it's not cooperating, so I won't be using that again. Amazing. You get spoiled when you use quality products, and then when you use something that's a little not the same, it's kind of hard to say, okay, why isn't this working immediately? Not used to that. All right, let's go ahead and put this right near that base. And I'm giving myself that tiny little edge as best as I can all the way around, which is why I have to hold the paper like this. Okay. And then for this one, I had cut that beautiful plaid. Hello, Melissa. Yes, this is Timeless Tidings, and hi, Raggedy Anna, Missy. No worries, Danielle, and thank you so much for stopping by. I know I'm taking a long time, guys, and I apologize for that. It's definitely not something that I normally would, you know, spend so much time on and that sort of thing. However, this is the reality of making memory books or mini albums or whatever, is that they're not as fast as the short videos make them out to be. Because you do run into little snafus, like having to tear out a page and rebuild it and all that good stuff. And that's not the first time that's happened to me on a live video, which is why I don't worry about it too much, because I'd rather be real with you guys, you know what I mean? Now here, again, I can add a little magnet in there if I want to, moving forward, or adhesive on the two sides, or just adhesive on one edge and be a top-loading page. I tend to prefer the pages that have a little bit of a surprise element, so I'm going to leave it as is for now, and then adhere the next one. And I think I'm going to continue with the same type of pocket there, just because I think it looks so cute. So let me go ahead and just add this, since I'm not going to be adding a magnet. But yeah, I think the video editing just makes everything seem so easy and seamless. But these projects normally take quite a long time to make. Even if it's a smaller book, you know, your page size might be slightly smaller, but you still have to pay attention to all the little details if you want it to look nice in the end, right? Okay, so I'm repeating this again. I'm only doing this repetitive, for instance, paper selection, because I personally like the base papers to not be too complicated. I love the matchy-matchy style of this because the papers I think are gorgeous to begin with, so you don't have to do a whole lot to that. And then what's going to make it ultra special, of course, is going to be all of the other little elements that I can add to this going forward. You know, whether it be that I add a little die cut to that, or a little stamped image, all of those good things. And sorry guys, I keep forgetting that. I'm so not used to this tape, adding tape, but I guess I have to today. I feel like I need someone to whisper in my ear, don't forget the tape. Don't forget, Raquel. Okay, so go ahead and put this here. And today I'm expecting a delivery. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. I finally, after I think, is it 2 years or something like that I've been waiting, will be getting the tangerine on my hands, and I know some of you already own it, so I've heard nothing but good things about it. Oopsie. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Pages are not exactly matching, guys, but it is what it is. Okay, next little one here. I cut out the stags, and then I cut out this pretty paper that's got the striped background with the ivy. It happens to be the back of this one. And as I had mentioned, I did use different rectangles. So this one, for instance, is a stitched edge. So I think that's the one that came with a different die set. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. I want to try it out and cut all the things and see what the big deal is. Oh, see, so that's exactly what I'm excited about. And yes, it is the, wait, hold on a second. Did the box arrive? All right, so I don't know, Melissa, if you were asking me about the box. Is that me? Is that a question for me? Oh, hello, Minerva. Welcome, welcome. I am going to add a magnet to this one in particular. So don't mind me. This is how I craft. It's like kind of base idea. I know what I want to do. We'll just run with it. Add the little magnet there. Make life a little bit easier for myself by doing this. Okay. Cover that with the decorative paper, and then we'll add our little page in the book. Oh, okay. So Missy, you're saying your son put googly eyes on... Aww. Oh, okay, did you send a care package, Melissa? That's so sweet. So Missy's saying you put googly eyes on it. Oh, so he's taking hand therapy. And I'm sorry, it's I'm trying to pay attention to what I'm doing here, so I wasn't really paying attention to the chat. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing I had done before, in case anyone missed it. Oof, sorry, my glue just fell over. I'm just adding the adhesive there so that way I can kind of mark the spot. Just a cheater way of adding the little magnets. And then I can add my matting layer. Need more glue because I think it already dried. But that's okay, it's not going to cause any issues. And then I'll add my little stag page. I had mentioned deer. The deer, oh dear. Can't relate to the deer thing. That's very much a cultural thing. But see, now it folds nicely, and then I can add my little page there. And of course, these are all same to same right now, right? However, once I start adding all the other little goodies, it'll start changing up. And that's the fun part for me. I can make every page slightly different from one another. Whereas this is more of the rote memory kind of build a page situation here. But if you've ever seen the other memory books I've made, you know, you got to just trust the process. Right, so again, trying to measure top to bottom there, give myself the same edge, even if it looks crazy from the spine edge here. And then add the pressure to that, and move on to the next page. Last one, hallelujah. All right, so as you can see there, okay, it's the same look, right? But I have to say the real estate on this is still quite large because I left that 1/4 inch space, if you see that, in between each page. But depending on the type of closure that I make here, I still have quite a bit of room there to add elements to the inside of this, okay? Oh, okay. Oh, that's so awesome. So yes, Missy, the hat box is coming back on October 31st. I had mentioned that on the Facebook page, so I forgot to mention it here. I did a live video update yesterday, and I forgot to mention that there were some updates that changed, okay? And that was one of them, and I completely forgot to mention it. So I'm glad you just brought that up. So yes, the hat box is coming back. There were just some unanticipated changes, and that's what I mentioned yesterday in the live. I had said previously, prior, that's the word that was going to come out of my mouth. I had said prior that there were some videos I was very much looking forward to sharing with you guys this month, right? And now I'm referring to Tonic Studios releases of videos, yada yada, right? However, there were some changes that took place, and so the videos that I had scheduled, they're actually going to be available not this month, September, October and November, okay? And one of the videos or whatever, because I actually already worked with that, was the hat box. That was one item, but I'm excited for you guys because you'll be able to get a hold of it. And of course, as soon as that comes back, if I happen to have a link, then I'll be happy to share that with you guys. Not that you have to use it, but you know, why not, right? So I'm gonna add this last one there, and we'll move on from the page edition. There's that. Oh, and thank you so much, Karina. Thank you, thank you. You're so sweet. Okay, line of glue. No, I'm not being 100%. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not being 100% careful with this. Okay? But that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you just have to craft for the fun of it. No, if I were gifting this or if I was sending this in the mail to someone, I would be so meticulous, you know, and really seek perfection. Today I'm not doing that, okay? I'm just giving you guys an idea of how you can use these types of materials. But we have all of our pages in there. Now, wouldn't that be so adorable with this perspective? I got it dirty already. But with little cards in here that maybe little recipes, right? I think that would be so super cute. But so far, this is what we have. And of course, it's going to be in this direction, not the horizontal perspective. But there's much more that we can do with that. However, right now, I would like to add the pieces for the cover. I'm going to move some things here for a second. Bear with me, guys. Don't like to have craziness all over my table because then I can't concentrate. I'm a tidy woman, believe it or not. It's gotta go, guys. If it's in my way, it's gotta go. Alright, here we go. She cannot concentrate otherwise. Alright, so now the covers. I think I'm gonna cut this down a tiny bit because it's not looking even Steven all the way around. And that page was 5.5 inches tall, if I'm not mistaken. So I think my papers just were not cut accurately. Okay, so that's better. I'm going to repeat that with the back cover. I don't know what happened there. Okay. So these guys are going to go on the front and back cover. However, one thing that I'm going to do first is, oh, it's looking like this has the same weave on both sides. Not used to that because I've gotten used to using the Tonic paper, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna use a little bit of adhesive here initially for the very reason that I'm going to actually run this through my machine. I'm going to grab that really fast. It's right next to me. Sorry guys, I just bumped this again. Okay, where are you? Over here. So, yes, Missy, the brown card is from, oh, I just had the sticker. What was it called? Something company, the paper company or something? I don't know. It could, you know what? This paper could very well be 20 years old. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was looking through my room and I was like, oh, you know, what color do I want to use on this? And I figured, well, brown is the easy answer, isn't it? Because if you look at the colors in the papers, right? And by the way, the little bird, this is the little guy that's going to go on the cover, right? So I got to thinking, well, that'll look cute. Well, I grabbed this beautiful paper because it is gorgeous. It's got this linen weave on it. And I'm all about texture. Yeah, it's horrible. I'm going to be the first to tell you. Don't buy it. Stick with the Tonic paper. Oh my gosh. It's so bad. All right, so I was getting that out because I want to use, well, let's go with this one. The 3D embossing folder for that paper. So we can use this one. Now, mind you, I'm saying it's horrible for this because I'm having trouble sticking it to my project. That doesn't mean that it wouldn't be wonderful for other applications. Okay, everything has value. It's just in this instance, this paper, if I weren't doing a live video, I would have thrown it out. Okay, I learned my lesson about these 3D folders and how you need the adapter plate if you're using this universal system. All the good stuff. We're gonna stick this in here and say a short prayer. Hopefully this works. I am going to spritz it lightly. I know you guys can't see this, but just hold it far away and spray the paper. Okay. I'm gonna feed it in here. Carolyn, hello, and the enchanting wish. Oh, it's not likely, Minerva. They said that recently. There are certain die sets that once they're manufactured, it's not very likely that they'll be revisited. Okay, so now case in point, right? The paper, not so great for sticking, but look at that. Are you kidding me? Look at how gorgeous that looks. Now it's slightly wet, just a tiny bit, but there's where you see that 3D embossing. Oh, gorgeous. I may just change my mind about the paper and all the bad things I was just saying. So I might have to apologize to the paper. See, I'm so sorry. I should have been nice to you. Okay, hold on a second. Spraying it again. And I'm just using this, by the way. It's just water, okay? But we're gonna make it work, because that's the one thing about life and crafting, is that sometimes if you're dealt with a hand that's not the one you want, you just have to work with it anyway, make the most of it, and add some shine and keep on moving. All right, I'm getting my workout, guys. So yeah, that wishing well was gorgeous. I know exactly the one you're mentioning. The other thing is that, and I've mentioned this on this channel in the past as well, just because they don't make the same exact item, for instance, doesn't mean that they might not produce something very similar to it. Now, what I would suggest is, if that is something that you really, really want, the easy answer is to tell you, well, check the groups on Facebook, you know, check the resale groups, you know. And if you're anything like me, I really don't like that answer. So I don't want to give you that answer, because that's just frustrating when you want to get something and it's like you have to wait for someone else to get sick of it. However, what I would say is that there is a dedicated Facebook page that is all about giving feedback to Tonic Studios, and it is the Tonic Studios feedback page. That's where you want to write that sort of thing. I've got a little smudge. I'm gonna have to hide it with ink. That's where you want to mention those sorts of things, because you're more likely to reach the proper people, right? If you do so, because that's what that page is there for. And I'm trying to find a piece of paper to hide the glare, and I apologize for that horrible glare. There we go. So now I can add my little panels that I embossed. And I am going to add little Mr. Robin there in the front. Oh, but I love, love, love the effect of that. Now, I don't want to leave that just like that. So, let's crackle. I'm going to take some embellishment mousse. This is the color Truffle, Soft Truffle. Brand new, just for you guys. And let's open this baby up. I think it's going to be well worth it. I keep forgetting, nails are jewels, not tools. All right, let's open this up. Have a little fun with it. This is how I always open mine because I want to keep that foil there. It's kind of like leftovers. If you uncover it, it's going to dry out. So use your foil. And if you're fancy and you have money to spare, get yourself the that paper. Oh, what's it called? See, I'm not fancy or rich, so it's the paper that's sticky, but it's not sticky. You guys know what I mean. It's not saran wrap, it's the other one. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. You're such a sweetheart. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you're not familiar with Carolyn, she's Tea Time and Dolls in the chat. She designs her own dies, and she's the queen of shabby chic. So be sure. Thank you, Dawn. See, Dawn knows. Press and seal. Yes, that. So you can use that with the Nuvo mousses. Oh, so that's awesome. Karina, if you create videos, please let us know so that we can come visit and see how you've used the dies from Carolyn. I'm gonna just, I'm just gonna go to town. I was gonna be shy about it. Oh well. So much for that. It's getting shiny. Oh, I love it. You know what? I need a bigger brush, right? I just love this stuff. We all know I'm a magpie, so why, you know, why hide it? Because if I've been fighting with this paper all morning, then it's now going to be, it's going to have to play by my rules and be shiny. All right, so that's one of them. Now this is going to be layered, so I don't have to do the whole center, but I do want to make sure the edges are nice. Okay, and let me tell you, I think it's well worth it to do that extra little step only because it really highlights all of those, you know, whoopsie, that was a bit too much, but it highlights all of those little nooks and crannies of the 3D embossing. Very nice. Just that little bit of extra zhuzh. Yeah, I'm digging that. I like it. And I mean, it's an unanticipated color for this project, but who cares? Let's go with it. Because you can always add more, okay? Just so you know. You're not obligated to only use one color of mousse. I'm just trying to take away some of this from this brush because I did kind of dig in there a bit. Okay. And if you only want to highlight certain areas, by all means, you can do that also. But I really like just that little touch of pearlescence. You can just do, you know, a tiny bit on your brush and really work it in there. Okay, I think I like it like that. Whoops, it's gonna be shabby now. I like it like that. Okay, I'm gonna stick this down before I destroy it. Yeah, I keep telling people, if you get yourself in a little bit of trouble because you've got some tonic stuff and all of a sudden you're eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, just blame me. See, Raquel made me do it. She said I had to. I just tell people, yeah, just tell your, tell your spouse, yeah, that girl on YouTube, she's the one who made me do this. Haven't we all done that though? Really, if we're honest? Seeing an ad in the middle of the night. And then next thing you know, you're getting an Amazon package and you're like, what is that? What did I order? When I was somnambulant, half asleep. Okay, I'm getting rid of the mess. And by the way, that is water-based product, so it's super easy to clean, as you just saw me do that. No tricks, no gimmicks. So I'm gonna put this one on the back. And if I ever, accidentally fold the paper and all that good stuff, I just call it character, and just keep on moving. Because you can keep layering, you can keep adding, keep embellishing. All right. So this would be, oopsie. I'm going to add a little bit of that liquid adhesive on this because, as I had said before, you don't want your projects to fall apart. And if it weren't because this paper is the way it is, then I would have added only the liquid adhesive. But in the event that that starts falling apart, then it's going to have the backup. Okay, I'm going to try to center this now, and I do have to hold it this way, as I said before, because otherwise I can't see it. I'm going to stretch this paper slightly because that 3D embossing does crinkle it a bit. And then kind of work it from the center out if you can. Get it even Steven all the way around as much as possible. Oh, but I'm loving that. Love that folder. And if you're making Christmas cards or gifts, you really don't need to do a whole lot more. This has a little bit of a stripe on there though. But just a little embossing folder like that, like if you weren't to get any of the other parts of this collection and you only went with the embossing folders, I still think that you're making out really great because of the impact of that. And then there's the front piece here, which I think looks entirely different because of the amount of the mousse that I added to that. But I'm not bothered by it, and I can also add now a little bit of this ink also that I had mentioned earlier. I just have a brush here. Let me see this one. And this is the Distress ink from Ranger in Espresso, Brown Espresso. I can never remember the names, but mix and match this a little bit just to add a little bit more depth. There's a little bit of a copper color in this mousse, I think. And I think the ink is going to play really nicely with that. I'm going to change it up a little bit. But if you can tell, it's not really taking away the pearlescence of it. It works with it, and I think it's because this is also, if I'm not mistaken, this is also water-based ink. I don't know if it's a hybrid. I can't remember now with the, if you guys know, let me know, because I forget. Because not all inks are created equal, but a lot of them work really well together. And also, the pearlescence did not transfer onto the ink pad. If you're concerned about that, if you're a purist when it comes to your materials and you don't like to ruin them because you spend good money on that, the mousses are wonderful because they dry rather quickly. They're water-based, and you can use them to not only apply the way that I did, but you can also use them through a stencil which I had mentioned before, and I completely forgot to add it to my pages. I was gonna do that. Oh well. And you can also use it, grab some with a spatula and put it on your table and use them to paint individually, like little watercolors. In case you want to do that technique with a white piece of card or watercolor paper. Because this color palette's not for everyone, but you may like the design. And then, you know, you can interpret that as you wish, of course. I'm gonna put this on here first. And again, I'm pulling on this paper because of the fact that it's now undulated a little bit. So I might not get an exact straight line all the way around. That's okay, it's got character. Okay, and then now I can place this little guy on top. I think, let me see here. I'm going to add it with foam adhesive. This happens to be black foam adhesive, but you can get it in the white if it's available. And by the way, there is an adhesive sale right now at Tonic Studios. You have to use the code GLUE20 and it's 20% off of all of the adhesive, which I think is phenomenal. So if you need to stock up, now's the time to do it. Because it's really good glue. These guys, oy mamma mia! They always do this! So just beware, they're really sticky. They're sticking to my fingers. I can't make this stuff up. Stop it. I cannot fall asleep with these things. Not for 1 second. But hey, they keep me going. Okay, I don't think I want any more of those. They really work. It gives me the heebie-jeebies though. When something sticks to my hands, I panic. It's like fear factor moment for me. Oh my gosh. Oh, hello. Hello, Sam. Thank you for being here. Ooh, Sam, I want information on that. Aw, you're so sweet. You're making, okay, so are you making lovebird tags? I would love to see that. Or no, or you love birds. I think I just got that. I'm a little slow, but I get there in the end. All right. Again, I'm gonna do it this way, guys, and I apologize for the, holding my papers this way. It's just otherwise I cannot see what I'm doing. Okay, so that little bird going right there. Okay. Oh, I just had a moment. I have to tell you guys, when I was in my early 20s, I was taking a children's literature class, and a lot of the people in that class were going to be future teachers. So one of the students brought in this little tub. It was a little plastic tub. In fact, it looked a lot like the moose tub, right? Something about that size. And she was like, oh, I think this is going to be great for students, and I'm going to be doing therapy and this and that and the other. And so she passed it around the room so that everybody could open the little tub and feel what was inside. Now, I wasn't, you know, typical me, I wasn't really paying attention much to the whole, you know, what it was that she had made. I just knew that, she was passing something around the room and I was to check it out. So I open it and someone's like, oh, you have to stick your finger in it. And I'm like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. And I did, and my hand sank in there, and it turned out to be slime. Now this is years before this whole thing was popular. I had no idea what the stuff was, but when I tell you, I almost jumped out of my chair. It's like, ah! What is that? Oh my gosh. Anyway. experience. Okay, so I'm gonna measure this again. 4.5. Cannot remember things. Sorry. 4.5 by 5 3/4. How many times have I said that today? I'm gonna add this to the inside, and then I do have matting layers. But I told them, I said, no. That thing, therapy or not, no, it's not, that's not normal. I was like, why would you want something to stick to your hands like that? Okay, so this can go in here. Now, on a good day, everything else would have been perfect and straight, as I had mentioned earlier. You guys know I kind of goofed a little bit with my placement, and you can tell I even stained that with some of the mousse unintentionally, because I'm sure it's under my fingernails and all that good stuff. But when you're home crafting, you're not going to do any of that stuff. You're going to take breaks, you're going to clean your hands, and it's all going to be lovely and perfect. So, do I have enough? Yes, I do. 5 3/4 minus a little smidge. And then 4.5. I think that's what I measured the other one at. We shall find out. Okay, so I gave myself a little bit less this time around. Let's see here. I think that's okay. I'll make the most of it. And I might just add another page or something. I'll add something to it. You love birds. That's so true. Now I'm so Melissa, the update is that I added the cover and the back, and then I did add some mousse to that, and the 3D embossing. So I'm not going to do 3D embossing for the inside, just so that I don't take up too much of your time today, but of course that's another option if you want to do that. I'm simply going to decorate it with those little matting layers that I had cut out. And wait, do I need to cut this one down? Because I said I gave myself a little bit more on one than the other. No, you know what? They don't all have to be exactly the same. Wait a minute. I take that back. Take it back. I take it back. I'm gonna cut one tiny little hair off of that one. Un cachito. I'm gonna say it in Spanish. Un cachito. Which is about 1/16 of an inch. Okay. There we are. And it's just that. That's all I was removing from that. But I agree, the birds, this paper collection, by the way, does have a cardinal. And it was sadly on the opposite side of the robin. I don't know why it was designed like that, but you know, I had to make a choice. Do I want the robin or the cardinal? Didn't get to choose both. Otherwise, I would have added the robin on one side, the cardinal on the other. But I don't think, you know, can go wrong with either one. See, all of these are double-sided. The entire collection, which I think is great. But, you know, just have to choose what you like. Okay, she's getting there, guys. She's getting there. Just going to add these on the inside. But I have to say that, considering I started this book today, I know I've been here for 2 hours. This is a long video, but I normally take 2 or 3 days to make a little book because of all the details that I like to add to them and all that good stuff. So if you have the measurements already, this is definitely the type of project that you can do in a day. What I would suggest is that you do all of your cutting on one day, get all your little materials ready to go, and then do all of your gluing the next day, and you can definitely get it done rather quickly, in my opinion. My fingers. Okay, here we go. Alright, so there's some imperfections. I mentioned that before, and that would be this here. Okay? That's my little imperfection. I'm okay with that. If I were gifting it, I would have taken my time, been a lot more meticulous about the placement of that. But in all honesty, I know how to fix that, so I'm not going to worry about it. There's very little that can, ruin the projects. Okay, so a little more glue here. This is going to be on the front cover. And I have this one here. Now, the pages, the interior pages that I used for this were all, with the exception of the brown paper, were from the kit, okay? They're meant to make the little envelopes or envelopes. However, I decided to use them as the pages, okay? But you can very easily do this project with just any shape die that you have that has a pretty, rectangle that you enjoy. If you don't happen to have that kit. Okay, so I'm going to try to center this as best as I can here. And I really like that design. So pretty. Very traditional, but I think that that's, really cute. This is going to go in the back now. All right, it's going to go right in here. And then I can further embellish all of this. All right. Now, speaking of which, I had created those little pine cones. But I don't want to add them just as they are. This is where I started today. To add these little guys, I do want to add a little bit more. Let's see here. Is this open? I have, this is called Antique Red. So there's this mousse, super beautiful. And what I can do here is I'm going to just take a paper towel and clean off my little brush because there's not a whole lot on there to begin with. And I'm just going to very, very lightly just dip into that and kind of clean it off also. Again, this has a bit of coppery color to it. And I'm just going to touch up a little bit of this pine cone just to add a little shine in a different color there because I had inked it with that espresso brown ink. Oh wow. Well, thank you so much, Karina, for having stopped in. You're always welcome, sweetie. Oh, I think I was typing on here by accident. Sorry, guys. Well, I didn't press enter, but hello, Beth Ann, and welcome. So yes, Karina, this will be here. I'm not going to erase the video or anything. So if you want to catch up later, you get the opportunity to do so, then by all means. If not, no worries. And I thank you so much. And I hope you have a good night's sleep, sweetheart. So now I'm going to add a little more here. So if you can see there, the intensity of that one is much deeper. There's no wrong way to go about it. It's all depending on what you like. But I really like to add a little something extra to those die cuts. So that way they're unique. They're a little bit more than just the flat paper. And considering I've been fighting with this paper today, and it started out as just this brown cardstock, you know, to make it look like that, I think is really fun. And of course you can add sprays to that as well. I always have one handy here on my table, and this is one of the mica mists. So all I do is, actually I have another one too. And these are, if you see, they settle, okay? So you do have to give them a good shake. But there's, of course, as the name implies, there's mica in there. And then it gives your paper a pearlescent finish that's really beautiful. These come in different colors. In fact, actually, well, this is a sparkle spray. This has silver in it. So all of the sparkle sprays from Tonic Studios have a silver cast. This happens to be a different color here, if you see that. And they look super intense because they are initially. However, you can water them down and use those to color your papers as well, and get different results. So in the future, I'm gonna have a different project, and I use these same little die cuts, but you're going to see that they're going to look quite different than the ones that I've made here today. And it'll just be a different technique. But this is all I do. I just open the bottle and grab a little bit of that liquid and just let it drop right on there. And that way I get that golden sparkle. Okay, because of course you can do this in a box separately, spray everything. It depends on the mist that you're trying to get. But if I'm just trying to get that little speckled look, that's all I do. And I dry it off with the same paper towel. And now I have, see, super easy. Now I know that I use 3 separate products on that, but if you happen to have them, I think it's worth, use it all. Don't leave it on a shelf. Just, you know, collecting dust. But let me go ahead and grab some other paper here, because I do want to take advantage of these supplies, as I had mentioned. This is the rest of the die set, and I'm going to make some flowers with those poinsettias. So bear with me one moment, guys. Sorry to do this, but I do want to. Alright, I'm going to grab this paper. This just happens to be, what color is this? Kind of like a deep ivory. And I'm trying to get these. I have to move some things really quickly because I'm going to cut the poinsettias, okay? Let me just leave that there so you guys can see it, hopefully. I'm trying to eliminate that glare, but it's a little bit of a challenge. I'm just gonna open this and I'm going to cut that, I think all of maybe 3 times. I like to work in groups of 3. In fact, I don't think I need this big machine. Come to think of it, yeah, let's do the smaller one, because I think I can fit that on there. Can I? Yeah. Yay. Okay, I'm gonna move this out of the way because the little one is a little bit easier to work with on a live, so I'm just gonna do that. Where'd you go? Here it is, right in front of my face. All right. Okay, I want to make use of this because I'm just going to alter it anyway, but I wanted to have a bit of body, right? Now, normally I would be using thinner paper for flower making, but because I'm going to add color to this. Oh, wonderful, Minerva. Then I'm happy that you're here today. Because if, you know, it takes the fear out of trying new things when you see someone else play with it, I think. Because honestly, these are, as I mentioned, I keep saying that over and over again, but it's the truth. It's a water-based product that is quite intense. However, you can really manipulate that to your liking. So case in point, before I cut this, I'm going to take that same coppery mousse And now let's do a little coloring on that. So I'm just going to take another brush, and I'm the type that I'll reuse a brush even if it's dirty with a different color or whatever. If it's in the same color family, brownish, whatever was on there, I don't really care. I'm just going to apply this, and if you see that, it ends up looking almost like leather. It's really nice and smooth and pretty. And of course you add the quantity that you want, whatever your comfort level is. All right, but it really transforms a piece of paper. That's why I wasn't too worried about what the paper actually looked like. Now, if it had a texture on it, then of course it's going to highlight that. If you want to then 3D emboss this, you can by all means do that. Okay, but look at the finish on that. I think it's so gorgeous. So let me go ahead and repeat that, and then we'll make poinsettias out of this. And don't forget, if this is the type of video or content that you enjoy, if you tell YouTube that you like it, then it benefits both myself and you, because you're telling the analytics, you know, show me more. Show me more of that type of video. And it's also a great way to support this channel. Now, if you're going to shop for any of these products, I do invite you to use my links. That's another thing that's there. It doesn't cost, you know, anything extra. All I get is a small commission. It doesn't really cover much, but it's worth using it because it also lets people know that I'm showing you items, and I'm, you know, directing you to the Tonic Studios page, for instance, or whichever other one is listed there. So you can take a peek around. I always say it's not a bad idea to shop around and take a look at the prices. There may be a sale or two that's a little bit better on one page than another. But yeah, that's all there for you guys to use if you'd like to. Okay, this is going to be the last one that I apply mousse to. I'm not going to do both sides. I don't think it's, you know, necessary, but I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot of fun. And I can paint all day, so I have to stop myself. All right, so that's gonna be enough of that. Okay, I'm going to clean off my nails real quick here, my fingers or whatever, because if not, I'm going to end up transferring this on everything. That is the one thing that I cannot control. So I apologize for the interim here. Take a moment, take a sip of whatever you're drinking while I get this off of my fingertips. Not every day that I'm using all of the products, but I wanted to really share with you guys as much as possible in one video. That was my aim today. So to answer your question, sweetie, that color is antique red. So there are a lot of different reds available in the mousses, and there's a lot of different finishes. For instance, this is an embellishment mousse. There are also crackle mousse, 3D mousse. So that one, for instance, you would apply heat to, and it'll bubble up and create a really fantastic texture. And then there's chalk mousse. So, in fact, I think it's next month I have a project in which I use chalk mousse, so you can be on the lookout for that. I'm super happy with the results of it. I thought it came out so gorgeous. Okay, so how to use a little bit of cleanser there. So some of them are a little more pearlescent, a little more antique-y, that sort of thing. But you can really have a lot of fun with the different finishes. So now let's finally cut this out. Cut it out already. There they are. I'm just I'm going to use my little Scout here because it's handy. Wonderful to be able to fit that on a table. And use these dies. Now I just added a little bit of Craft Perfect adhesive there because that's going to hold it sufficiently without ruining the paper. This looks like a shade of lipstick that I would wear. I really like the color. And I know that, you know, Hopper is not for everyone, but I really think it plays nicely with the palette of those papers. And it's called Red, but it does have that bit of a coppery finish. Oh my gosh, I think it's so pretty. And if you see there, I'm gonna have plenty left over there. I won't waste that. I just won't use it right this moment. So that way I only make 3 little flowers and then move on from that. But there's also the greenery in that die set that's really beautiful. So you could repeat that, for instance, and do different colors of paper. But I might have to finish it off camera and then come back and share with you guys the finished product. However, I'm at least going to make the poinsettias and add the little pine cones. Because otherwise I would have had all of these, you know, items ready. And I can certainly do that. I can make the embellishments and then come back and finish it live. Let me know what you guys think. Okay. So if you see this, I wanted to mention quickly also before I forget, I used that mousse. It dried so quickly. You guys are seeing this live, right? It did not ruin my die. It did not ruin my plates. There's no color transfer on there. Okay, so if you're concerned about that sort of thing, you can always hit it up with a heat gun if you want to, if it's the crackle mousse, for instance, so that you get that really quick results. But you don't have to. It dries very, very quickly. Okay, so I had a tiny bit still on my fingers. I want to make sure that I don't transfer this because I really don't want to ruin this project. But I don't want to leave the room. There we go. Normally I'd be in the restroom just scrubbing my, you know, my hands. So now I can go ahead and adhere these. Yes, for my own health, I would have to, you know, finish the embellishments and then come back because I've already been here for 2 hours and I have a time limit on my back. It's just my back, guys. But I want to add these and then I want to supplement it with those little flowers. And I am not going to be able to do that without the greenery, guys, so bear with me. Because it needs it. So I'm referring to these little guys. And the good thing is that this size I can also cut down. I'm just gonna grab another piece of green paper. Happen to have some here that I think is gonna work fantastic. Need a little levity to this. So let's go with this color here. This color, it goes into, let's see, can you guys see? It's a metallic green, okay? This is from the Glorious Greens card from Tonic. And that's called Smooth Mint, by the way. There's also Holly Green. See if you can see that color. Yep. There's Holly Green. I could do one of those as well. And then there's this color, which is more of a satin. Actually, I think I might use that one. Oh, they're all beautiful. Anyway, this satin green is called, I don't know. It's one of those. Holly Green, Flourishing Green, Smooth Mint, and Emerald Green. The emerald green I know is this super shiny mirror card, okay? The other ones, don't quote me. I'm not excellent at that. I struggle to remember which is which. So let's cut some of these. Well, Minerva, you're going to be able to save this video. So what I suggest is, I have a playlist, by the way, of memory books for Tonic Studios, or using Tonic Studios dies, I should say. And I can add this to that playlist by all means, but I suggest you save the video to your playlist, and then that way if you want to revisit it, if there are any points that, you know, were maybe helpful to you in any way, then you can always come back and watch it, and that way you don't lose it. It's kind of like Netflix when you add a video to your list. You know, same concept. You can add it to a playlist, and then it's there, and you don't have to, you know, say, oh my gosh, what was her name again? And what the heck was that channel? You know, it happens to everybody, so it's just my suggestion there. Okay, so I got 4 pieces that I'm gonna cut out with that, because I think that a little bit of height and dimension and all that good stuff is not gonna hurt if I do that. Let's just see how it works out, and if I have any left over, then I'll just use it on an interior page. So again, I'm using this, that tape is probably like 15 years old by now, but I'm still using it. Just really like that stuff because it sticks around, no pun intended, it sticks around. Okay, so if you see how beautiful that is, that's why I wanted to use the mirror card. Now I'm going to, you know, fiddle with it a little bit here because I don't want it to rip, but you want to almost pull away the rest of the paper, and that's just because this is so delicate. But I might run it through again. I think I might have to. Yep, because there's a layer of that mirror card is a little bit thicker. I might end up cutting away a little bit of this paper, but that's okay because I'm going to be cutting more than one. So let's just run it back the other way. Now there's also a shim. Actually, I just forgot, or I just remembered. I'm speaking opposites now. There's also a shim, but see, it cuts out very, very nicely, I have to say. Considering it's a thicker paper, there we go. I'm just pulling it away, and you know, you want to be patient with it, of course, because these aren't the same as other papers. They're more, you know, frilly. Oh my gosh, but look at that. I think it's so beautiful. But I'm going to use this shim for whatever it's worth. I don't know if it's going to do anything, honestly. It's probably placebo effect, but it's okay. Let's roll with it. All right. I'm going to run this a couple times. Let's go back and forth with it and get a little workout. So let's see here. Oh, I'm so sorry, Melissa. I do hope you feel better, sweetie. Thank you so much for having stopped by. And I know this is a much longer video than I normally make, but as I said, I wanted to really make this project and share it with you guys today. So I do appreciate those of you who can watch, and it doesn't matter if you can only watch 5 minutes or 10 or whatever. I appreciate all of it because I know that your time is just as important to you as mine is to me, so every little bit counts. And I have to say, I'm so very blessed that, you know, so many of you come back and say hello and leave me kind messages. It's very sweet. This community, I think, is phenomenal. As I mentioned yesterday in my live, there's no competition here with anybody. I love to watch other people craft as well. Even if your style and mine are different, that doesn't bother me so much. I mean, I'm not online a whole terrible lot either, because I have to create content. And I have, there's other things that I work on that I don't even mention on this channel. So, so yeah, it's very, very valuable, and it's very sweet. A little bit left of that it's hanging on. That little tiny bit of, I feel like this is, that tape that you use and when you're, oh gosh, what do they call that? Wound tape? Not wound tape, that's the wrong word. I forgot the name of it. Something that you would have in an emergency kit. And it just keeps on going. All right, last little branch. We're done with this, and we're now going to stick all that on the cover. Make a cover already. I know a lot of you guys have been so patient today with me. I so very much appreciate it. Okay, let's add some glue. First, let's layer the little flowers as I had done the little pine cones, right? I'm gonna do the same thing. 3 by 3. That way it's easier. And of course, if you're the gem type of crafter, then go ahead and go to town and add your little sparkly bits to that. I'm just going to keep it simple because there's enough going on here. And if I change my mind, I always have the Nuvo Drops, right? So I can always add those on top. So let's go ahead and add this. I'm going to stagger them as much as I can here. Right? That little guy is going to go in the center. Now you may want to change the color of the center petals. It's up to you. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to go about it. Whatever you fancy, whatever gets you excited and happy. There's flower 1. And it might shift a little bit because the glue is still a little bit wet. Okay. Then flower 2. Layers there. Press on it lightly. That. Press down on that and then just kind of pull on those just very lightly. Flower 3. Thing here. I'm going to center that as best as possible. And to think that that all started off as a cream piece of card, to me is just fantastic. So normally I would be using hot glue here, but I did not turn on my gun. So I'm going to make do with my regular adhesive, and I think it's going to be fine. And because I really want to kind of focus on those little pine cones, I'm going to add those first. I just think they're gorgeous. Don't want to take too much away from that little bird, but might start adding these next, the little flowers. See where they take us. Just adding adhesive there to the center. This is where I kind of try to use the tools to my advantage. Again, if it was hot glue, you know, much easier than that. But I'm gonna add this one over here, yep. If not, then I might just add my little squares. And then off camera, what I'll do is that I'll come back, revisit this with a little touch of hot glue, and then make sure that it's permanent. Add that little foam piece there. I think it's going to help me. And another one here. And of course, with this collection, there's the foils all of that good stuff. So much shine and just beautiful pieces. So that's another thing that you can add to this, in fact. So on top of that mousse, if you wanted to, you could add the foil. And I think that that would be really beautiful also. Now, I said I like to work in groups of 3, but I really don't want to cover this little guy up. So I might shift this one around a little bit. And then I think I want the pine cone more than I want the flower. Add this one here. And then the little greenery I'm going to cut down. And I'm going to try to mimic what's already there in a way. I'm going to tuck these little guys in the back. And I'm going to cut this one down even further. Because it's the contrast that's going to make this look really fabulous. And then if that little bird image is too matte for you, it's too flat, you can always add a glossy finish to it with the crystal glaze from Tonic Studios. This just dries clear, so you can, you know, add that and then, for instance, highlight the little eye, highlight the beak, whatever suits you. And let's see here, I'm going to cut this one down as well. Those are attached there. But what's so cool about this is you can transform it to your liking. Just keep going with it as much as you like, right? I think I might add these. Let's see if facing a little bit down more. I kind of want to leave myself a little room in case I decide to add a sentiment there, because I haven't even thought of that yet. But I'm going to couple these and add them right behind that poinsettia. It's not covering the bird, so I'm cool with that. The second one. Lift that up a tiny bit. I'm gonna this little pairing up here. Oh well. A little bit of glue up there. I have a ballpark idea of how I want that to look. And add that in the back. And I still have more dies to play with, so if this is incomplete, that's okay, because I can keep revisiting and keep adding, add more little sprigs, add more little drops, all that good stuff. But I'm going to end this here today. I want to say a huge thank you to you guys. I'm going to recap really quickly that these dies in particular are from Timeless Tidings. It's a total of 16 pieces for that. I only used today to make this cover the poinsettias, the greenery there, and that gorgeous pine cone. But I did mention in the beginning there's that other option down here. There's also those bows. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to play with that. And then there's the paper, which I mentioned I happen to have used today. This one here. Sorry guys. I'm wanting to make sure you guys see everything. Okay, so this gorgeous paper collection. And let me just share with you this, because that's the same name there, right? Timeless Tidings. This was the other foil, so there's still more there that I can open this pack and keep adding to this. That's why I wasn't too worried about this being semi-unfinished, because I still have more. to unpack and play with. Okay, I'm going to be able to use all of those layers, the papers, and who was it that mentioned, because I forgot, the foil, because I said that there was a, oh yes, here it is. I said there was only foil on the cover, and I apologize. These also have foil. I'll be able to add that. And I forgot the little trees. So there's those papers as well. So let me give you a quick flip through. This one has foil. So gorgeous. Okay. And then there's this texture. So I apologize that I forgot all about that. I just, you know, in haste, was just wanting to cut papers and get started, but look at how gorgeous that is. And here's the one with the bird I had mentioned. So you see the one in my cover. So if I wanted to, I could cut that out of there and then add it on top with pop dots, and that would be another layer of dimension. But if you like bigger pages for scrapbooking, I mean, this is just stunning, because all you have to do is add a little picture there and you're done. But look at the other side. It's the little cardinal, so cute. And then there's this paper here with the little pine cones on the edges, so you could use it in either perspective. It's still very, very pretty. Absolutely darling colors. Beautiful papers, for instance, for like a masculine cards or all of that good stuff. And then this is, by the way, the cover of that die set, in case you're wondering what that looks like. The one that I shared with you guys. That looks like this. Now, all of this is linked below, just so you know. I think actually the dies, maybe not the paper collection, but that's all still available. And then we use this 3D folder. That's how this cover was made, and the back. Gorgeous, love it. And I still have to, you know, I'm gonna add a little more to that, because I know that there's a bit of a streak there that it's not too beautiful, but that's okay. And then we used the elegant envelope gift card die that was the base for all of the pages, and then some of the matting layers. And I didn't even break into all the beautiful goodness of that either. And there's still so much more. Okay, so here's the cover of that 8x8 paper that I used. So in case you need a screenshot of that. And then there is still so much more, which I thought I would get to today, but sadly it's just so time consuming. There's the stencils, another 3D, and then folder, and stamps. Couldn't think of the word. There's the stamps, and then also the foil. So plenty there. And this is just one collection, by the way. So there are others. There's a more playful candy cane collection from Tonic. There's the festive fair, which is super cute as well. But if you like the traditional look and feel of Christmas, then I would definitely suggest this one. And I'm going to keep playing. Just, you know, I'll be back. But thank you again so much for being a part of my day. As soon as I'm able to, I will come back. Yes, and so that's exactly what I'll do, Carolyn, is I'll go ahead and cut everything so that way you guys don't have to wait for me to do that. I was hoping to be able to have that in just today, just time got away from me, but this was a lot of fun, I have to say, considering, you know, there's the little magnet closure, so if you didn't know how to do that, you'd learn that today. I made the spine in this video. I showed you how you can make a little bit of a, you know, tuck page there, but I'll have more details. And here's another one, of course, let me share with you, for instance, because you can add little tags in there. And there's, you know, just different ways that you can use this type of little book. I'll be able to add more in here, and I'll be happy to share with you, you know, I'll describe it at least, so that way you guys get an idea of how this is going to be used. And then any other little embellishments that I may add. And then here, if you get this kind of little snafu, mine's a little bit crooked, okay? I'm going to share with you how to fix that. Take a metal ruler. Every crafter should have one. Put it right behind the piece of paper that you want to get rid of, and then just take a blade and then cut it toward the ruler, okay? Not the base, because if you do that, you're going to cut your book apart, okay? Just letting you know that there is a way to fix that. If you're not confident with that sort of thing, just take a piece of paper and adhere it right on top and just cut it down to maybe 1/16 of an inch or anything like that. You can add a metallic paper, whatever. And then if you want to, you can also use a pair of scissors and just cut that tiny little piece off. Now, this doesn't bother me, but if it's an eyesore for you, just to let you know, that is a way to fix that. So in any case, yes, this is gonna be, there's gonna be a part 2. I look forward to sharing that with you guys. And I hope that you can all be inspired and be blessed. Thank you so much for having been here with me. And I will see you in my next video. Ciao, ciao, guys. God bless. Oh, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up, guys. Don't forget. And if you're new, subscribe. I always forget to ask. Thank you, guys.